Hello. It's been about a month.
Yeah, I don't know really when we schedule these out at weird times. So we film, this will probably be out in 3 months from today or something like that. So hello, 3 months time.
We hope that everyone is having a wonderful time.
And a wonderful year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're having a good year.
We're having a great year. It's been busy. We're actually
Flat out.
as a business, we're at a point now where we've kind of burst through the roof and we've hit another roof and then we've burst through that roof and then we've hit another roof again. So for us as business owners and as business partners, it's, you know, we've navigated some challenging waters, but also some really exciting waters as well. So
it's been a really fun year. It's been really, really good. We have our staff member.
Yeah. We spoke about Leah last time.
Yeah,
we'll
so
probably
she's
try and
still around.
Yeah, we'll probably. I actually asked her to come onto a podcast, and she told me to politely go away,
Respectfully.
Respectfully, yeah. But anyway, let's dive straight into today's topic. So this one is something that I deal with almost daily.
You are very, very good at it as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to talk about digital strategy, particularly ad strategy for developing artists. To dive a little bit more into the context of this is something that we do as a label service for a lot of labels. So or even events, we get contracted in over a campaign basis to be able to provide ads and reporting and digital
Campaigns.
Digital campaigns is the word that I was looking for.
Yeah.
Wow, I got tongue-tied there. Digital campaigns for different companies and different labels, different events and things like that.
Usually meta ads.
So a kind of little bit of a structure of today's podcast is going to be, we're going to break it down into, I guess, 3 little bits. The first little bit, I just want to really clarify, firstly, the platforms that we're working with, but also the types of ads that we can be running. I'd love to go into some more logistical kind of, it's going to be a little dense stuff around kind of how ads work across those platforms broadly. And then we can do a little bit of a case study to end. We can work across a few different artists that I'm either working on currently or some, for Aiden, our management client, we're going to start doing it for. We can kind of roadmap that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So this one's going to be a lot of me talking. So if you don't like me talking, feel free to
you can skip to the next.
Skip to the next episode or the last episode. So this is going to be a lot of me talking. But so first things first, running ads, digital strategy overall. When we look at the overall communications umbrella, under that umbrella spits off 5 things. We've got our media strategy, which we've covered off. We've got our social strategy, which is realistically predominantly what we talk about the most. So our last episode was about exclusive content. The episode before was about UGC, etc. We've got our digital strategy, which is what we're discussing today. And we've got in real life and live. So our activations, our live shows, etc.
Yeah.
Out of those, digital strategy for a local developing grassroots artist is probably, not that it's irrelevant, but it's probably the most least vital thing at any one point. If probably between that and media, in my opinion, is probably the one that is the least vital. And when I say that, what I mean by that is the budget is something that generally comes up as a question. How much budget should I have, or how much budget should I spend? How many likes or how many views, how many followers am I going to get? How many ticket sales am I going to get off the back of this budget? The answer is that there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to budget. Digital strategy absolutely works, but it works in the context of a wider communication strategy. So if we haven't got media strategy, social strategy, particularly social strategy, and our live strategy down pat, digital strategy is just a Band-Aid. Everything else needs to be working. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for an independent artist, particularly if that doesn't have budget, their focus should be building on audience and developing that data.
Discovery first.
Yes.
Yeah. So first things first, I just want to debunk a couple of questions that I get, if that's okay.
This is yours.
So firstly, the main platforms that we're going to cover today are realistically Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, because that's where most people that would be listening to this podcast would be wanting to run their ads. That can also kind of be extended to TikTok as well. Roughly, the strategies are generally the same, but the content might be a little bit different. There are also Google and SEO ads. We're not going to cover them specifically today because they're a little bit of a different thing that aren't so relevant to the artists that will be listening to this podcast. So the first thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was the difference between boosted posts and running ads. So boosting a post and running an ad are two very different things. Boosting a post is boosting a bit of content that shows up on your shows up on your profile and gets surfaced to an audience that you choose to target in their newsfeed to direct them back to your profile or wherever you want them to go. Running an ad is a group of creative, so many different creatives that don't show up on your profile and they show up in the targeted news feeds of the people that we are targeting. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. You explained that very well.
I need to be super clear that running specific ads through Ads Manager on Meta or Ads Manager on Facebook is a way more effective way of being able to develop discovery than boosted posts because we have a lot more of a chance to be targeting. We have a lot more of a chance to be contextual in the content and the copy that we choose to write. And we have a lot more
intentional with your audiences.
Exactly. We have a lot more chance to be intentional with our audiences. So to break it down for you, for the artists that are listening, let's do Meta first. If your Facebook and Instagram are linked, you'll have access to a thing called Meta Business Suite. You can find that by going into Google and just typing in Meta Business Suite, following the prompts. If you've used a Facebook profile to set up
it'll be directly on the device.
It'll be directly on them. You can off the back of that, you can then create what's called an Ads Manager account, which is separate to your Meta Business Suite. Now, all of these things, Ads Manager and Meta Business Suite, all sit under what's called a Meta Business Portfolio. Okay. I'm going very slow with this because I've had so many dramas with Meta the last couple of weeks and the last couple of months, as you know, with a lot of clients. So the portfolio sits up the top. Under that portfolio, you have your Facebook, your Instagram, and your Ads Manager all connected, and you can assign your team or whoever you're working with to whatever you want and allow them access to whatever you want. So that's kind of the way that it works. Now, the foundation.
Yeah.
We're going to specifically talk about running ads today. I think running ads is a great way to be able to create repeat exposure, to retarget audiences that we are already hitting on social media, which is what we're going to do through our little case study with Aiden that we're going to do shortly.
Yes.
But effectively, I speak to a lot of artists daily, and when they do jump into Ads Manager, they get very overwhelmed very quickly because it is very hard to use, both on TikTok and Meta.
Yeah.
And
especially if you've never done it before.
And it's quite dense, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
So effectively, the best way to break it down is it breaks down into 3 different tabs. The first is your campaign tab. Your campaign tab is essentially what you're trying to achieve with that specific campaign. So it could be ticket sales. It could be general awareness. It could be streaming. It could be whatever, right? And you'll have multiple sets of options. So traffic, awareness, leads, whatever. Second to that, you've got what's called ad set, and that falls under your campaign. That is your targeting and your budget. With budget, you can have a daily spend or a lifetime spend. The lifetime spend is obviously over the lifetime of the campaign. The daily spend is essentially what you're spending daily to hit that lifetime spend. If I'm not making sense, you need to stop me.
No, that was great.
Okay.
I'm just listening.
That also breaks down your audience, your detailed targeting. At that point, you can also target people and create what's called a custom audience, which is targeting people that may have engaged with a profile or engaged with an ad or engaged with a bit of content before, to create repeat exposure. And then the last tab is what's called your ad tab or creative tab. And that is where you can upload as many bits of creative as you want, videos, static images, you write your copy. You essentially create what the ad will look like and where it'll place on that social media platform. So for Facebook and Instagram, Meta, you may have one overall creative campaign that has 4 different ad sets and 4 different ads under an ad set, and they may have 30 placements each. So you're essentially distributing your project across a wide range of different areas or different spots, whether it be Facebook Marketplace, Instagram Stories, Reels, Discovery page, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. TikTok is very similar. Just the logistics of how it would work are a little bit different. So where you would put the budgeting in might be a little bit different to Meta, et cetera, et cetera. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, and I'm so sorry that I'm waffling on to all of the audience members that have to listen to this.
This is actually very valuable. Like a lot of people don't know this, and it's valuable.
Yeah.
And I think the artists that are listening that do want to do it, that was a very nice way to go about it.
I also want to preface that I'm trying my best not to mansplain, and if I'm talking over you, I apologize.
Oh, you're only talking. For everyone listening, all the artists that are listening, Anth is the digital guy in our company. Like I do not know. Leah is, I don't know if she knows, but I don't think she knows as much as what you do. So if anyone ever needs any ad specific stuff, information, if servicing, whatever, that is all you. So you can talk all you'd like.
So the last thing that I wanted to talk about was something called a pixel. Now, essentially what a pixel is, it's something called a data set that allows us to track things. So for example, if you want to track the amount of streams you're getting on a song that you're releasing and you're running an ad, you can essentially use a pixel to be able to count the number of streams that you are getting on Spotify, Apple, etc. The explanation of how to actually create that, link it to Spotify or link it to your buy link or whatever it is a little complicated, it's a little dense. It's going to sound like a little bit of gibberish. To be honest, I have to Gemini it every time I do it because it just does my head in.
But it is handy when you're doing ticket sales and things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if any artists want to talk about their specific project and their digital campaign that they want to run or anything like that, more than happy to jump on just a 30-minute phone call, set up a session if you want something a little bit more in depth. More than happy to talk about what that looks like. So that's kind of how campaigns work. So in terms of my experience and some of the things that we kind of work across, just before we kind of get into it, I'm generally across 2 different types of campaigns or maybe 3 different types of campaigns. It's either an event, and in that event, we generally split it up into 2 bits. So for example, I'm working with Mitch from Full Circle on a couple of different, say, clip art events or, some different tours that the guys are bringing out. And we'll split those into 2 different sections. The first will be an awareness phase where we'll run, so they'll obviously announce pre-sale, general admin, and then we'll launch ads off the back of that. Now the ads will generally be just a video of the artist playing, the tour flyer, whatever assets the promotional company has. And the idea is to get as many eyeballs and as much engagement on that as possible. The second phase to that campaign is generally what we call a sales campaign, which is where we'll utilize a pixel. We'll create 2 ad sets. So the second tier. So within a campaign, we'll have the 2. The first ad set will retarget everybody that engaged with the first campaign.
Yep, with the awareness.
Funneled
it into the sales.
Again, creating that repeat exposure. The second one will be all new audience using detailed targeting. And then that will generally run and we'll use the pixel to track the amount of ticket sales that we're adding. So essentially, my reporting to, say, Mitch at Full Circle or Frank at One Love will always be the amount of ticket sales that we're getting or the amount of click-through that we're getting to that. And then the next type of campaign that I would generally do is for specifically a release itself. And it's generally the same strategy. So I'll use Enola as an example, who we've worked with recently. Shout out to Enola. Ruby's awesome.
They're great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. So strategy was exactly the same. So 2 to 3 weeks before the release, we ran an awareness campaign, and the whole focus was making sure the creative that we were running. So I think we had 20 different ad creatives, and they were all just different vibes, different things, different parts of the song. For us, yes, it was awareness, and we were trying to get people across it and trying to get people to pre-save. But the real focus of the campaign was to work out what content was working best. We then utilized the best performing content to send people to stream at the second half of the campaign. And we ran that, and it did what it did. So that's enough for me talking.
I have a question on all of this. So
thank God.
I have a few questions. The first one, can you just elaborate to artists, what are some content pieces that you've seen that has worked so far? Is there one that's stronger than the other? I know that we've discussed it where static is actually working better for us as Cartel.
It does vary between industry,
but as of right now, what would you suggest?
I'm finding between all of the clients I'm working with, whether it's us specifically at Cartel who run ads for our own business, for artists and for events, I'm actually finding at the moment, even the swim school client that we work with in our corporate sector, we're finding that static ads are actually converting at a higher rate than video ads, which is contrary to what most online gurus would say.
Yeah.
Videos do still convert, but I'm finding at this very current moment right now, static is working really well.
Would you say because the point is across very quickly?
I think it really depends. Okay. For me, I think it's really important. I think it's really important for all the artists listening today that it's really important to not get romantic about the content. Mm-hmm. The audience will tell us what is working.
Yeah. So which is why it's wonderful to have multiple different
100%
like bits of creative that you can kind of tournament strategy.
Totally. So
do you want to go through that tournament quickly? Not really.
Not really, just because I don't think it's relevant
for an artist.
For the artist, it's more relevant for, say, like a business or an event.
But if they're putting on their own ads.
Yeah, so it really comes down to how much content you've got. Okay. So if you've got, say...
Should we case study? Because I have
Let's case study.
I have 3 bits of creative that I want to run. A performance video, a static image, and a reel, like a promotional reel about a song.
Okay.
So they're all got to do with the song.
Okay.
The kind of overarching purpose is that I want to drive awareness. Doesn't matter which piece of content.
Okay. First things first, who do I invoice? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. So it is for your client.
Okay. My first question would be, what is the actual intention of what we're trying to do?
We want to build awareness of the project, discoverability for new potential fans of the song.
Okay.
And then we want the second sales strategy would be to push to streaming.
Okay. So what I would do, without really having any oversight of the actual kind of content and looking at it, I would do a 2-fold campaign depending on what the budget is. Now the budget's quite important here, because we only have 3 bits of content that we're working with.
We can have more. Would it be better for artists?
Yes, it would. Yeah.
How many pieces of content?
I would say, again, it would depend on the budget. Mm-hmm. The smaller the budget, you can really only
work with what you've got.
Got.
What's a good budget, do you think, for independent artists?
Look, I think my advice to artists would be, if you've got $100, the reality is it's probably not going to move the needle over a longer period of time. Mm-hmm. What we're trying to do is we're trying to generate repeat exposure, right? Repeat exposure doesn't happen quickly. So if we only have $100, we've got to be smart with that $100. Mm-hmm. So you would rather retarget audience through a custom audience, which you do in your ad set, and target people who have already engaged with a profile. So for this particular artist that we're doing, what I'd be doing is I would be using the show footage and retargeting people that have already engaged with his or her Instagram. It's Aiden. It's Aiden. It's our management client, Aiden. So he's just done a show at the Workers Club really recently.
Yeah.
What I would be doing is taking the content from that show, the best performing organic content.
Mm-hmm.
I'd then be...
So test that first.
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Because again, the market's telling you what is going to work.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
That's good to know.
I think the biggest form of advice that I'd give to all artists, and this goes for everyone, us included, the best organic content will convert on digital.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's not working organically. Is
that for businesses as well?
100%.
So our best piece of organic content is static image.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The videos for us just provide further context.
Yeah, right.
It puts a face and it puts a voice to it.
Yeah,
But
great.
it doesn't necessarily convert. If that makes sense.
Cool.
So for Aiden specifically, what I would be doing is I'd be creating what's called a custom audience. I'd be creating an awareness campaign, and I'd be retargeting people that have engaged with his Instagram or his Facebook over the period of promoting Loverboy, the event and the show.
Yeah.
What that's going to do is it's going to create repeat exposure. So they've engaged with the page once, the ad's going to create that second piece or third piece or fourth piece of exposure.
Yep.
What I would then do is look, depending on the budget, we can do a traffic campaign that runs directly to the song itself and track streams or track click through. What I would probably do is I would use that to build exclusive content that we spoke about in the last
podcast.
Yeah,
yes.
I'd probably say it'd be more beneficial for an act like him to not just build random streams, but to build an email list up so we can get people into his Discord.
Yep.
So I'd probably do the awareness campaign, get the organic content that he's posting, like the schedule of his Discords, to continuously get posted. So the people that are exposed to his page are seeing that. And then instead of running a traffic campaign for the single itself, I'd run it for a sign up for
the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And
that's a good strat for artists.
I'd do the 2 ad sets as well. I'd do the people who have engaged and also new audiences.
Yeah, cool. That's a really good strategy for artists as well, to be able to focus on things that aren't just, I want to get more streams, I want to get more followers.
Well, like, I mean, if you've made it this far into our podcasts, firstly, thank you so much. But secondly,
and we're sorry.
if your focus is just on streams and views and likes, you've missed the entire point of what we talk about. Because it's so far past being irrelevant that you should never be doing this anymore.
Streams and following are relevant, but it's not the only focus, no. We're not going to have this argument again.
I vividly disagree, but that's fine.
I think it's good for industry. I think it's good for industry building, but it shouldn't be the only audience, artist focus, no.
Yeah.
It should be audience, how you're valuing your audience.
Exactly.
Yes.
And like, you know, we go so far as to say that the audience decides, right? If we're posting, so if we take any regular artist, right, and you've got a release coming up, we want to understand what's going to work, because realistically, we don't know. You know, you may create the best song in the world, but it's not the best song in the world until the audience makes it the best song in the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Subjectively to the artist, of course it is, because you put your heart and soul into it. That's the whole point, right? But in the context of being able to create a sustainable artist project, it doesn't become good until the audience says it's good.
Yeah, which is why you need to value your audiences leading into and have a strategy to nurture them leading into the single, during the single campaign, post single, and keep this running over and over and over again.
I think, and going back to what I said before around digital strategy being probably the least vital thing, because it relies really heavily on your social strategy and your live strategy being really sound first, or at least your social strategy at minimum. Because if that's not right, digital is just a Band-Aid. You'll get a bunch of traffic, you'll get a bunch of followers, but it doesn't necessarily do anything.
No.
You know, as soon as the budget stops, everything will stop. I think this is just a really good moment as well, just to acknowledge that there are plenty of platforms that you can run paid advertising on. So most DSPs offer paid advertising. So Spotify, we'll use Spotify as an example. They run marquee and showcase campaigns. They're semi the same thing, but they operate slightly differently that I don't need to get into. For artists at a local level, I would highly recommend you don't do these.
No.
You don't need it. Your main focus on a platform like Spotify is to generate data around what your audience archetype would be. We do that by exposing the song to a group of people that all have a similar taste profile. We do that by independent playlisting. Now, if you're going in and you're doing a marquee campaign or a showcase
right
campaign
off
the bat, the issue with that is Spotify actually doesn't know where to target it. Right? We need to be able to showcase that data first, and marquee becomes more, or showcase become more relevant post that, because we've showcased that data and then we can get more algorithmic play through that.
Yeah, I agree. And you also don't want to confuse any of the algorithms on each of these platforms as well. And I think that, like, when we talk to artists, is particularly my ongoing clients, like, they want to throw money at all these problems, and it's kind of like, well,
the Band-Aid fixes, right?
Well, once the money stops, like you said, how are you going to know who your audience is on streaming? How are you going to know who your ticket sales are when you're putting on a show? And it's all fake data.
And it's not just for local artists either. It's for globally recognized artists as well. Like, I'm sure Anne won't mind me saying this, but for the Shouse guys, like, we worked through their album last year, Collective Ecstasy, fantastic album.
Amazing album.
Some great support on it too. But we were doing showcase and marquee campaigns across those. And we found as soon as the budget stops, you go into their Spotify for artists, everything would just dip.
It's because the data's not, it is real, but it emphasizes that data.
Correct.
And then you think that, wow, that's amazing. I've got like hundreds of millions of streams. And then it stops and you're like, oh, wait, I actually have 1 million streams, which is great. But through an audience, and it creates a false sense of economy, because then the audience that we thought we had built is not actually there.
Yeah. I think as an overall kind of perspective for today's podcast, I think before listening to this, if you haven't listened to any of our other podcasts, I really recommend you go listen to the last one that we did on fan data and exclusive content.
Yeah, exclusive content.
I think where digital is really best suited is for discovery before that, right? So we use digital strategy to create either awareness or discovery, right? Once we have that discovery, it's then on the artist or the artist team to bring that audience deeper into the world. And that's what that last podcast was about. I think if we have no real strategy around how we're going to do that, digital is rendered irrelevant.
Yeah, I agree.
And I say that as someone who does this full time every day. And it's not important if we haven't got those structures in place to be able to, capitalize on it.
I agree. And you don't have a full purpose for running the digital anyway.
No.
And it will also be kind of irrelevant if you're not working all the other parts of the project that you should be.
Yeah, totally.
Live, social, industry development, media development, your own audience development.
I will also say as well, I think, it's easy for us to sit here and say, like, go run digital campaigns, go run ads. I think for artists, again, looking to build a sustainable project, again, why I say it's probably one of the more least vital things is because it requires you to spend budget. If you don't have the budget, don't spend it.
Yeah.
Like, it's as simple as that. You should not be spending the money that you don't have, on things that may or may not work. Now, does digital work? Absolutely. But it works in the wider scope of a larger communication strategy.
In conjunction with the whole strategy.
Correct. Yep. It's not necessarily something, unless you're getting leads that are going to bring you in money, which you're not, it's not necessarily something that should be overly front of mind straight away, but it is something that you should be upskilled on to be able to implement when you are starting to generate some income.
Which is why this podcast was so important. And there's so many artists that ask me these questions. So I'm glad that we've got something to point back to. If you're an artist that wants to learn more about the overarching communication strategy, Anth and I, we do this every day. We are here. Email us, DM us. We are more than happy to walk you through the entire comms strategy and how to best maximize for audience view.
I've also written an ebook on digital strategy and the best way to help digital strategy with artists. You can head to our website. It's free. You can just look at it. But if anyone wants to talk specifically about their project, it's quite hard on a podcast like this when you're talking broad, which is why we did the case study.
Tiny little case study.
Hopefully,
I also really needed to know.
yeah,
so I appreciate that.
I'm going to do it for him anyway. So, but if anyone wants to talk more specifically about their project in general, or in specifics, I should say, please feel free to send me an email. We can set up an artist development session, which will allow me to have some research time before to just get my head around the project and what you're actually trying to achieve so we can come up with a proper strategy. If you've just got a random question, you want to hear a little bit more, shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to answer that. Any questions?
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. We've just been talking and talking this one.
I got a sore throat after that. My God, I haven't shut up for the last half an hour. I'm so sorry for everyone listening. And you know, it's so funny before we go. I speak to clients all the time and they're like, oh, you know, I'm a big fan of the podcast. So shout out to all you people. But I feel like I have to apologize.
I apologize every single time.
Same. I'm like, I'm so sorry you have to listen to this garbage. It's not garbage. It's good stuff.
It's not garbage. It's sorry you have to listen to us is what it is.
Man.
The people who we work with don't even want to listen to us.
Yeah, we ramble on. But as always, love everyone's feedback. You know, if you have a topic that you want to hear more about, again, send us a DM. We're more than happy to chop it up on the podcast, whether it's anything about building audience, building sustainability, artist development, music industry. We're looking to get more guests on as well. We're very unplanned with this podcast. I feel like we come up with the topics that we were going to talk about this morning. We do come up with
the topics on the day.
3 hours ago.
We need to figure it out.
Then we have a breakdown and then we just do it and it's great. But looking to get more
industry professionals on here.
Yeah, if you've got kind of anyone that you would like that would be in our network, just let us know. We'll ask them and we can take it from there.
Wonderful. All right, plug and then we'll go.
Everybody knows who we are. So.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace, guys.
Bye.